Squirrel Dealer. I'm your host tonight, 13. Please note that's hosts, not guru, Svengali, spiritual guide. I am not a master in Ponza, but hopefully we're going to have some fun tonight. Land destruction is always a blast. Couple of disclaimers. First and foremost, Ponza is quickly becoming Karnza, using Karn the Great Creator to lock the opponent out. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of that gameplay. The day may come that I buy Karns, but that is not today. We've clearly bought the Renin sixes. We have surgicals. We've invested a lot into our Magic collection to actually make sure that these streams go well, and we're actually playing the cards that we want to. But I personally just am not a fan of Karn the Great Creator, so we're not playing Karns tonight. We are going old school with Ponza. So tonight's list is a little bit adapted off of Big Mouse 12 on Reddit. If you'd like to check it out, there is a Ponza subreddit for it, and this is one of the more recent ones. Took it to GP Minneapolis, apparently did pretty decently well with it. This deck is not overly competitive, but it is on the fringe of the format. You can definitely put up results, and it's land destruction, so I mean, we're just going to have so much fun with it. Also, note the name Ponza comes from Wisconsin. There's a Jimmy's Grotto, and they serve a panza rata, and it's a small pizza that's folded, sealed, and deep fried. And honestly, I would list that under all the reasons why I'm fat, because that just sounds delicious, and I'd love to try one someday. But going on to the actual deck, we are playing Blood Moon. Unfortunately, Blood Moon is not in a great position at the moment. Most of the decks are either running Blood Moon or just prepared for it. Snow's a thing, but still going to try to slam it. This deck is capable of turn 2 Blood Moons fairly often. We also run Stone Rain and Pillage to get rid of that basic, just try to completely luck our opponent out of the game, and we're going to steal some free wins because of that. To help accomplish this game plan, we have Arbor Elf and Utopia Sprawl, capable of generating 4 mana on turn 2 for our Bloodbraid Elf, but Bloodbraid can cascade into our 3-drops, as mentioned here. Basically, just all the powerful land destruction and mana hating. And then it's also very easy turn 2 Blood Moons and the like. And then this list that's a little bit more unique. Tireless Trackers in a lot of the decks, but this is a 4 of. We are running a Trinisphere. We might even be running 2. 1 Trinisphere. Trinisphere is quite strong at the moment. It does not stop Hogat's costing. Yeah. Let me try that again. It does not stop Hogak from being cast, because he still costs 7 despite the fact that it's being reduced and he's not actually paying mana. That cost is actually there. Transfer is the last check. Transfer is king of alternate costs, but Hogak still gets cast. We are running a couple of copies of Renin 6. We don't really have a lot to draw into, but it helps our mana lightness, and it also helps power up our Tireless Trackers. And that's most of what we're doing that's unique. Our big finishers are Chandra and Inferno Titan, which we can get there relatively quickly with all of our Arbor Elves. And we're just going to try to destroy some lands tonight. So let's see what we can do. Let's crush some people's dreams. I do need to correct the record. And let's do this. Eep. Opponent's on old school Lily, Reticle Healer. I really hope that was better. It did see playing Vengevine for a little while, just because it'd flip and give you a Planeswalker, but the backside wasn't strong enough to warrant using her. We are also running 2 Seasoned Pyromancers. Yeah, this has no ramp in it, so this has a Trinisphere and a Pillage, but honestly, we just want an Arbor Elf or a Utopia Sprawl, preferably both. And this is what we want. So we'll hang on to this. We will be getting rid of our threats and kind of hope that just this can go the distance. And that's a swamp. We're getting discarded. Rip. Basic swamp is either... Yeah, this is looking like Jund. Do want Basic Force, though. Basic Force is going to make it so that we can't get Field of Ruined when we actually attach Utopia Sprawl. Expecting more discard here, potentially just a Fatal Push for our Arbor Elf. This is actually looking like Pox. Could be Abzan or 8-Rack, though. Yep. Mulliganing versus the Thoughtseize deck always feels awful, but we have cards. I misplayed. I should have played the Wooded Foothills because opponent knew about the Wooded Foothills. I am getting multiple green sources here, though, because we are a Blood Moon deck. It is relevant. And Bloodbraid's a great top deck. As the kids say, we spin the wheel. Pillage. 100% taking the dual land here. This does turn on Fatal Push so they can kill our Bloodbraid, but if they had it, they probably would have killed Arbor Elf before we untapped. They could also just trigger the Marsh Flats. Just saying things that don't matter, just more 13 things. Silent Clearing. Okay, so this is looking like black-white walkers. And black-white walkers ends up running a lot of 4-drop planeswalkers like Sorin, and if this is actually tokens, they might be running Sarah. And probably should have ran that out. If I top deck exactly our one of Glorybringer, it doesn't matter. Yeah, look at that. There's a Sarah. Likely making an Angel to block the Bloodbraid Elf, but opponent is at 5. Big money! That's pretty good. That's at least a redraw. Drawing a land here, I guess, is also a reason that playing the forest is a mistake, but couldn't have cast it. Kessig Wolf Run will mean that we'll have lethal unlocked in a following turn. So likely taking 5 here. Shambling Fence is rough. So Kessig Wolf Run giving trample to Seasoned Pyromancer. Kessig Wolf Run will be +4. That'll at least kill the Angel. I think we're spinning the wheel. And prefer not to show opponent the Kessig Wolf Run, although this is slightly awkward if they actually top deck a Raven's Crime. That's pretty good. Means I gotta eat the Lingering Souls. Yeah, I'm banking on this Kessig Wolf Run. I probably should have just ran it out. Opponent shouldn't have any land destruction. Vindicate's not modern legal. This only gives +1/+1? Yeah, they can cash out for a second Angel, though. But Alpha with Kessig Wolf Run means that I should just be able to kill opponent here unless they find Lifelink. Guess the Shambling Vents can gain them 2. Kessig Wolf Run gives +4. If they don't find a land, then super dead. In all reality, because I actually have to activate this Arbor Elf to untap my forest, I probably should have ate a Creature of Scavenging Ooze before. Because it can kill the Scoos in response to the Arbor Elf trigger. Cashing out Sarah. Alright. And another Bloodbraid. So I am currently dead in the air. But I think we're good. This is representing 1 more damage from the lands with trample, so I don't need to send it in to trade with the spirit. Yep, Shambling Vent comes out. So that's a fair trade. I don't have another creature to hit. Yeah, that's fine. Then as far as trample, I just need to kill one of the angels. Really wish I had a way to kill a creature, but what can you do? So that's going to leave opponent with an angel, and that's it. So hopefully Bloodbraid will go the distance. Still dead in 2 turns to the angel, though, so that's awkward. Sure. That was a misclick, but yep, you got it. Okay, so many punts there. So many. Now this Bloodbraid's not going to be lethal, so that's unfortunate. Inferno Titan doesn't really do it. I need Glorybringer. Chandra kind of works. So 4, 5, 6, 7. Don't have enough to do everything. I can Kessig Wolf run in and kill their angel. Opponent only has 2 cards in hand. It's fine. Let just Chandra kill the angel. Pew pew. Yay, no Force of Vigor. That actually was a real concern there. Note, though, opponent should be dead. If I had correctly trampled over the 3 damage, I could just plus Chandra and kill opponent. Attacking me. Okay. Do you have smallpox exactly? Rip. Alright, well that's unfortunate. Well, the deck is currently 1-0. I would have cascaded into Utopia Sprawl. Alright, Smallpox. Grafdigger's Cage. Opponent can't cast the Lingering Souls from the yard. Also, if they're on Nether Spirit, that's relevant. Anger of the Gods can clean up tokens. I honestly don't think it matters. The Evasion is probably fine, but opponent has Edict effect, so I really don't want the Carnage Tyrant. Glorybringer is relevant for killing Angel tokens as long as they don't have the Force of Vigor or Intangible Virtue. Odds are they're going to buff it, though. Yeah, maybe not a huge fan of a Glorybringer that can't really kill anything. Inferno Titan's great for cleaning up tokens. We're going to be trying to destroy lands just about as hard as opponent is. The Trinisphere can lock both of us out of the game. Somebody was more seasoned with this deck. They could tell me if I want these. But Bloodbraid Elf with Trinisphere is a little bit of a non-bow because you still have to cast anything off of Bloodbraid for 3 mana. So I'm probably just going to make this trim, expecting it to be a little bit longer. Opponent should have Disenchants for our Blood Moons, but they have multiple man lands, flagstones, and canopy lands, so 100% keeping that in. We also mulliganed to death. That's worth pointing out. We did mull to 5, get discarded by 2 Thoughtseize as opponent had the push. And this is fine. This is weak to a turn 2 Smallpox, but we should have a Tireless Tracker out by then. I'll update the match record, but the deck should have won that. This is an interesting matchup, though. I think that Lingering Souls is a hard card for a lot of fair decks to deal with. If opponent has a choice between discard and removal, they're going to remove our Arbor Elf here. They can try to search for a... Yep. They can try to Thoughtseize for the Blood Moon or the Utopia Sprawl, but that's just a stronger play across the board. Then our Scooz comes out. Opponent's going to need more removal, although a Smallpox here is going to suck. Just because it gets a creature, a land, and our Inferno Titan. Yep. As expected. Say goodbye to the expensive card, the creature, and a basic. Stompy Ground. Alright, well, opponent did find a Lingering Souls. Hopefully they just try to run that out. Nope. They got us. That's a Bloodbraid. I know what I'm doing next turn, unless opponent has a Thoughtseize. What you gonna do? Lingering Souls. Alright, fetching a Shockland here because it can enter tapped, and then next turn I can just get another basic forest with this Windswept Heath. Although, again, probably should have done the Kessig Wolf run. I need to be a little bit better about casting that. That's a core part of this deck. Scooz is a good card. And I'm 100% offering this trade. It's essentially half of a Bloodbraid Elf for half of a Lingering Souls. Opponent can get tricky with Anthem effects. As well as this gets a Bloodbraid in the yard for the Scooz. Just a couple of things I can do that opponent doesn't have access to. Rip. Well, that's a good card in their deck. And they're a little bit better functioning off of low resources. Alright, well, Liliana here is going to be really bad. Like, we might just move on if this is Lily. Bitter Blossom's fine. This would be a completely different game if I had ran out that Kessig Wolf run. Just because everything I cast would end up having trample. I'm going to get rid of the Silent Clearing because it is a redraw. There could be an argument to go for the Swamp there. Just because if I find a future Blood Moon. But them getting a basic for this Fatal Push means that they're off white anyway. We are losing the race to Bitter Blossom. Birds is fine. It's weak to Smallpox, but it is 1 mana closer to top decking Inferno Titan. Just clear all the fairies and swing for lethal. It's also coverage for a threat if we top deck one. Alright, so I'm looking at 2 damage, then 3, then 4, then 5. So this Wooded Foothills won't expedite the clock at all. So I will be cracking it to thin. It's minimal, but the current clock doesn't care. That's not big money. That's a whammy. Alright, so we take 3, go down to 8, take 4. Then take 4 again with the birds out of the way. Yeah, I love an Inferno Titan. This pause makes me think opponent top deck some action. That's not great for us. But it sounds like, or at least it looks like, that it wasn't a Sarah. Otherwise, Sarah would come down and they would have hit us for 6. They are a discard deck, so I didn't hold any lands. That may have been a mistake, but it will allow me to draw at least one land if I top deck another one here. I guess holding a land there would have tried to bait out a Thoughtseize or an Inquisition, as well as giving me a future drop for Tireless Tracker, but Raven's Crime, Smallpox, all of those are just so bad. Well, draw 2. Double Arbor Elf. Alright, well, we're dead on the attack. GG's, opponent. Again, I did punt game 1, so the deck is technically 1-1. I'm 0-1 overall, but hopefully we'll do better on this next one. That Kessig Wolf run would have also meant that the Birds of Paradise could have started attacking in, or at least killed a fairy and actually made the clock significantly less. Okay, this is turn 2 Blood Moon. This is exactly what we want to sign up for. We also had some really bad draws against the discard deck, like super bad. Glorybringer's slightly awkward. It is a one of. We just don't want to see it all that often. And we're just going to go for green. We're going to grab Stomping Ground for this Blood Moon. Hey, this is a matchup we can win. Wait, do I actually want to get... I think I'm just going to go get my forest, or my mountain. Blood Moon. Suck it, Tron. Chalice on 1. Yeah, it's honestly not that big of a deal at the moment. Oh, so this is Eldrazi Tron. This Trinisphere is significantly less good. I'm going to just try to commit my threat to the table. Get myself a clue. Bloodbraid probably would have been a really good draw there, but seeing as how I don't have a land for next turn, of course, we draw one. This is going to be pointed at a Thought-Knot Seer, so I'm going to run this out now. Because if opponent tries to Thought-Knot Seer, the following turn I can just exert and kill it. Although they need a basic waste. Maybe that's trying too hard. Either way, the 4/4 haste is fine. Yep, opponent scoops it up. So, Eldrazi-tron. Braid and Shenanigans come in. Maybe Carnage Tyrant, just because it's bigger than anything that they've got. Blood Moon isn't nearly as good against Eldrazi as it is versus normal Tron. We do put up a significant clock. The Seasoned Pyromancer can chump block Thought-Knot Seer and Mimics and Matter Reshapers for a while. But, I mean, this is just card draw. I think I like it. Trinisphere's definitely coming out. The Carnage Tyrants are in here for control, so that we get an uncounterable threat. The Inferno Titan kind of fills the same role. I could see that split, and maybe the Scoos. I don't care about their graveyard at all, and that forces me to try to tax into green. Just having a bigger threat, go bigger than the Eldrazi, seems like a fair argument. This is a turn 2 Stone Rain, turn 3 Seasoned Pyromancer, or Chandra. I've done worse. Opponent's really showing off their Blast Zone. That is pretty decent tech against us on any normal day. Mind Stone. Alright, well, this Ghost Quarter could have taken my mana ramp. A little surprised that they didn't go for that. Going for the Stomping Ground here, so I have double red for the Seasoned Pyromancer, and then I'm just going to get rid of this Ghost Quarter. I don't want them to take my mana ramp away. I do feel like I'm fairly far ahead at the moment. Oh, they didn't even have another land? That's a ballsy move. Okay, so Tireless Tracker, get a clue. Alternatively, I think I want to try to save Seasoned Pyromancer for when my hand's empty, and Chandra's probably my best threat here. Yeah, I'm just going to jam Chandra. Free tick up for a land. Then this turn I could Tireless Tracker, hit a land, and Seasoned Pyromancer, but that means I'm discarding a Tireless Tracker and whatever I draw for turn. Yeah, this looks like a Thought-Knot Seer. I have to imagine it's a Tireless Tracker, but Chandra just gets to nuke it. We'll draw the card back. Oh, and there's a Pillage for the Eldrazi Temple. Alright. Is there any reason not to just kill this now? So I technically have 5 mana, 7 mana. I can Tireless Tracker, Pillage, get a clue. Or just kill this and Pillage. With opponent missing land drops, I think I have to punish them. We destroy lands. That's what we do. Although I should have actually killed it first so I could have drawn my card to see if it changed anything I wanted to do. But assuming this is going to be a concession, nope, they found a land. That's fair. Ooh, and they get to go tutor another one. I really debated putting Collector Oaths in the side, but I looked at a number of Ponza lists and none of them were running it. The Oath would just be so good here. Opponent couldn't tap any of their artifacts. Yep, they went and got another Eldrazi Temple. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Carnage Tyrant. I should have played my land first, but I don't need to cast it. We're pretty far ahead here. Bloodbraid. Into Blood Moon. And luckily this taps for colorless for the opponent, so they can still Thought-Knot Seer here. I don't know, maybe Tireless Tracker first would have been better. I just wanted to get a clock going. I feel in a really good place in this matchup at the moment. Like, next turn they can smash her, but I'm going to have a Bloodbraid, a Tireless Tracker, a Young Pyromancer, a Chandra, and a Blood Moon on the table. Chalice on 0. Alright. Tireless Tracker, a land. Forest, not going to do anything with that. And I'm leaving green available. No real reason. I could have cast an Arborel for a Utopia Sprawl, but... Yep, free block for opponent. They might potentially get a land. Find another Chalice. Another Mind Stone. And another Matter Reshaper. Alright, well, opponent's trying to stay in this. Utopia Sprawl. Yep, I like clues. Forest doesn't do anything. I am going to Utopia Sprawl over here so I have a second green source. And then crack my clue. That's an Inferno Titan, so that should lock it up here. 2 to you, 1 to you. They found a mine. Okay. I mean, that's a real card. But this is their last turn to drop something like an Endbringer, but attacking with Inferno Titan still kills them. They could technically have all as dust. I guess that could have been a reason not to run out the Inferno Titan there. Yep, Karn, you can't lattice. You can get Ensnaring Bridge, but I kill you with Chandra. Cool beans, opponent. Don't really care, though. GG's. Alright, well, punts aside in match 1, we do take Eldrazi Tron. Chalice of the Void is fairly strong against our deck. If we take a look at our curve, we end up running 9 1-drops. That's a sixth of our deck. It's definitely how we turbo things out. This is a strong hand. I mean, we don't have any land destruction, but still strong hand. So, hoping Bloodbraid Elf hits a Blood Moon here. Hey, it's Tron again. Look at that. Oh, Trinisphere is really good too. Alright, well, I am going to grab a Stomping Grounds here. My life total really shouldn't matter versus Tron. We're going to put this on green. I don't have any reason to have the red yet. Oh, yes I do, because I can't Bloodbraid now. And this is a little bit of a non-bow, but I'll just lock opponent out. That means that I won't be able to cast anything off the Cascade with Bloodbraid. That was bad. I'm giving myself a pun on that. That was horrible. Ugh. Ugh, that feels so bad. I think I just died a little inside. But it's Eldrazi Tron again. Alright, well, we're still going to hit the same Cascade we would have hit last time around, so... Guess leave up green, doesn't really matter. Yeah, I would have loved a Tireless Tracker last turn. Offering the trade, opponent's likely going to have to take it. Especially if they don't have another land in sight. Got a Sanctum of Ugin. Yeah, that's not great for me. A Thought Knot would be okay. That's not so great. Oh well, I can still cast most of the stuff in my deck. Well, that kind of came in time. I am going to thin my deck here. I don't think this Walking Bliss is going to go the distance. I'll find something else first. Opponent, can I go fetch my thing? Or do you want to shoot me in response? There we go. Alrighty then. Hopefully I find some live action before opponent starts jamming giant things. Kind of expecting Karn out of opponent here. Smasher? No, you don't have colorless. I'm expecting O-Stone. O-Stone shouldn't cost 5. Yeah, maybe it's just playing Tron twice, but I do think that Collector Oath has a spot in the sideboard. I mean, it would have done great here. Stone Rain does not hit Walkie Bee, so they currently have 2 towers. The Sanctum can go tutor something big. The Mine is a standalone Tron piece. If they happen to hit Blood Moon main board, which I don't think they can, may as well go for the other Tron piece. But this Walking Ballista can hit me for 3 this turn, then hit me for 4, then hit me for 5 and kill me. Alright, deck, I'd appreciate something other than lands. I mean, if I had a tireless tracker, I'd just be cycling through my entire deck, but I'm bad at this game and put this on green. Yep, opponent found a Mind Stone. They might be drawing. Oh yeah, the good old 3-mana Arbor Elf. At least need a counter from Walking Ballista though, so that does shorten the clock. That keeps us alive for a turn. Never mind, they had the spatial contortion. They got it. Okay, so I think the deck should be doing significantly better than I'm doing. This package comes back in. Trinisphere comes back out. I am kind of a fan of this. Glorybringer's still fine. Skew's was the other cut last time around, and I don't know, maybe just not the Carnage Tyrant. That seems fair. The Utopia Sprawl on red. Note to self. Oh well, still destroying land, still having a fun time. Opponent is a Chalice deck, though. The Shenanigans should get some work in if we find it. I was really confused by the deck split because they had one Abrade and one Shenanigans, and I was looking at a couple of different lists. Some had Flame Slash and Lightning Bolts, and they kind of just seem to come in all over the place. Oh boy, is this keepable? I have my best artifact hate. I'm slow, but I have all the cards that I want. I kind of can't deal with a Thought-Knot Seer, though. Grenin 6 on 2 is probably not strong enough, but whatever. We're going to be greedy and keep this. This is not land destruction. This is probably a mistake, but I like these cards. This is a beautiful hand. This is a hand I'd take home and introduce to my parents. Little slow, but oh, these cards are awesome. And like, here's hoping opponents expecting a Chalice on one to go the distance. Alright, that's an expedition map. That's a thing. Now the question is, am I supposed to destroy this or just Renin 6? Whatever this goes in tutors, if they Thought-Knot next turn, they're taking the Blood Moon. And then I'll just kill it with Chandra, so I just stuck myself into Renin 6. You know, Brad One's getting most of the time casting Renin 6 here, but I am a fan of Groot. No temple? Okay. This does make my Renin 6 significantly worse. Which I think is part of the reason people haven't been running it. Again, like, Karnza is actually the stock deck at the moment. But I saw a Ren and 6 in Ponza and was like, we're doing this. They're going to go tutor their basic waste more than likely. They didn't have an Eldrazi worth casting last turn. They were planning on cracking the expedition map. Wow, they didn't even run out the wastes. Potentially afraid of land destruction here. Okay. You get 2 counters off of Ren and 6. Congrats. I don't have a way to get lands into the graveyard, so... Then Chandra, Clue. This is a pretty easy Chandra because I'm expecting a Thought-Knot Seer off the waste next turn, and the Bloodbraid can potentially find land destruction if that's the case. Chandra will allow me to redraw. Nope. No mana. Not casting. Here you go, opponent. Yep, there's the Thought-Knot Seer. It actually might be correct for opponent to take shenanigans here, depending on their hand. Let's take a peek and just concede. That's fair. That's really fair. I think we just run it back. I mean, we had a slow hand, but it was absolutely gorgeous, and opponent took one look and just had to nope right out of there. I assume it's better to have your opponent just like feel the collapse of like I'm not beating this than to destroy their lands, but they're both pretty amazing feelings. All right, well we do move to 1-1 here. This is fine. I mean, it's still a turn 2 Stone Rain. I just have to do it off the Birds of Paradise. And then it's a turn 3 tracker with a clue. Guess we'll see if they kept in the spatial contortions. Oh, boo, hiss. Well, you bolt the bird, and it's because if you don't, you're going to get stone rained. Alright, I will be getting a tap land here, so going to use the Wooded Foothills. Unfortunately, this means that opponent can Thought Knot us here. Oh, they're just going to go look for a land. We've had a lot of opponents keep 2 landers versus Ponza. And they want to go for Tron. Opponent, are you not familiar with what our deck does? We say no lands. Oh, we really say no lands. No lands for you. They didn't draw one for turn. They went and got another Eldrazi Temple. So I think that's baiting me into a Reality Smasher. So I think I have to go for the Temple here. I technically have 5 mana, but I have to Stone Rain. So yeah, let's just take out the tapped Temple. I say no lands for you. Whiff, whiff. Yeah! All right. Well, I do think we probably could have beaten Pox, but I punted. There's not much else to say there. So Ponza is actually doing pretty good so far. Like, it just feels so good when your opponent is like, I can't do anything else. I honestly don't know if I could play Ponza in paper because it's like, yeah, that land, go away. You don't play Magic now. Are you having fun? I'm having fun. But I've had so many lands of my own destroyed against me that it feels pretty nice to be on this side. Um, I do think Collector Oath has a spot somewhere in here. I don't think one Abrade and one Shenanigans is quite correct. The Abrade probably comes in if you're expecting humans, just because it has a different name and can hit something for 3 damage. But again, not overly familiar with the archetype. I am not a Svengali. I don't breathe Ponza, but the deck's been pretty fun. All right, so no hasty things. Okay, mid-range hand, but not what we want to be doing. And I think we have to keep this one. I'm not stoked about it, but yeah, I mean, this is playable. I could try to go to 5, but if I go to 5, I have to have like an Arbor Elf and a Utopia Sprawl for it to be worthwhile. This is playable, and I'll just tuck the Kessig Wolf Run because it's not important with the Blood Moon. Oh no. Oh no, they might be trying to do it to us. Well, I like the cut of your jib, opponent. And this one is going green because of the Blood Moon. Don't stone rain me, bro. Don't do it. Okay, this looks like Devoted Druid combo. The weird version, probably with the ley lines. Or this might be that other Matt Nass deck that was just trying to do infinite mana with Dryad Arbor and Utopia Sprawl. Um, my opponent has all the mana that they need, but I think I'm supposed to Blood Moon them here. Turns future land destruction, which I'm going to have 2 looks at next turn, into a live draw to completely lock them out of the game. Horizon Canopy. No! No! This was a close consideration for our deck. Destroy target land, search for a forest, and put it into the battlefield tap. The nice thing is that you can get a Stomping Grounds off of that. But now we're locked off of green too. That's painful. That's really painful. This actually might be a twist on Saffron Olive's green stacks deck. Yeah, we're done here. Opponent was on the play. They ended up ramping correctly. All right, well, I don't even know how to board for this. So they're green-white. I don't know. I think we just run it back. I mean, I could see an argument for taking Seasoned Pyromancer out for potentially an Abrade to kill their thing, and maybe another Trinisphere since we're on the play. Just because if we Trinisphere before they actually get all their ramp on, we can potentially lock them out. But oh boy, that's so awkward. Yeah, I mean, I guess we run it like that. I mean, this is what I was saying. We could potentially have a turn 2 Trinisphere and just win. This does make our Bloodbraid Elf terrible. Ooh, and that's a Renin 6. Alright, well, seeing as how opponent had no ramp of any kind, this Trinisphere should just lock them out. Then hopefully top deck a land. Wow! Alright, opponent. You have my respect. This time 100% playing around the mana tithe. That's not happening again. Not going to let it happen again. I'd love to draw a fetch land. It's not asking too much, is it? It really doesn't feel like it. Okay. Huh. Yeah, that's fun. So I think I just have to go for Stone Rain and see if they've got the Mana Tithe. Yep. Opponent gets to kill my Wrenn in 6 now, and the mono white might actually get there. Or, sorry, not the mono white, the Selesnya might actually get there. That's fun. That's really fun. All right. Ooh, Windswept Teeth. I can't imagine they have more than 2 Mana Tithes on their top 12, so I'm just going to get my red source and attempt a Bloodbraid Elf, see if I can get back into this. My own Scoos. And if I happen to get to cast this Glorybringer, we're winning this race, so I'm 100% getting in. If the opponent wants to attack in, they get it. Shields down. Kind of what I thought would happen. So I have 2 options here. I can Tireless Tracker and Arbor Elf, or I can Trinisphere and Arbor Elf. Obviously, Arbor Elf first. If I Arbor Elf first and Trinisphere gets Mana Tithe, that feels awful. If I Tireless Tracker, I have a threat and can actually draw out of winning, and it's immune to... Yeah, I think that's putting me on Tireless Tracker. It doesn't have any advantage right now, but it's just a little bit higher upside. They had it. They really had it. All right, well, I was going to say I needed to do that after combat so Bloodbraid could get in, but that feels silly. I didn't think that they'd have 3 Mana Tithes in their top 13. I played a Mana Tithe deck a little while back, and I kept a counter running, and opponents going like full Monty on us this game. All right, land. Utopia Sprawl is not a land. It is mana neutral, though. So, do that. We're going to do it for red. I still can't attack in, so we'll Trinisphere. And give opponent a buy here, leaving up the Scavenging Ooze in case they have a second Ewit. Yeah, I don't care about my graveyard opponent. Eat anything that you'd like to. Ouch. Those acid mosses are definitely going the distance in the mirror. Glorybringer moves to a couple of steps away. Don't want you to be able to pick that up if I tap out. So, Stomping Ground, Crack the Clue. I can't cast anything with Trinisphere out, so it's tapped. All right. I didn't crack the clue there because I wouldn't be able to play the land or any spell, so it kind of just leaves it stuck in my hand at the moment. This can potentially win a battle over a creature hitting the yard. So just leaving up as many options as possible. Plus, for all I know, opponent might attack in with Ewed, and I can just crack the clue, grow tracker, and catch him by surprise. It's not what you want to hope for, but... Ouch. Well, opponent's definitely getting their ramp on. The 3-mana Arbor Elf. What? That's something I can take advantage of. I currently have 2 red sources on the battlefield, and I really don't want to pay life, so I'm going to grab another forest. I'm going to probably draw into a land, which means this Arbor Elf being 3 mana is super bad for me, so I'm just going to draw. I can't imagine I actually cast anything. Nope, but this Tireless Tracker should get away with the game pretty quickly. Primal Command, grabbing Trinisphere, and searching for a creature card that's probably going to be Acid Moss, or the Acidic Slime. They got an Arbor Elf. Is it just because it was castable? Okay, I'm not sure what's going on over there. Oh, look at that. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can Bloodbraid and Arbor Elf. I can just Glorybringer, eat the Scoos. I like Glorybringer, eat the Scoos. It looks like opponent's trying to get up to 7 mana, potentially 8. So I should be a little afraid of whatever's in hand here. But I can just Glorybringer and Alpha and potentially just cheese a win in a turn or two, depending on what opponent's actually squatting on. So let's go ahead and just Glorybringer, eat their Scoos. So attack with you, attack with you. I'd prefer to keep my Scavenging Ooze around because one of the creatures is going to die here. Yep. That all is fine. Opponent's down to 5. Glorybringer can't attack this turn, but Bloodbraid, Scoos, and Tireless Tracker should be able to go the distance. Primal Command, gain 7 life, tutor a creature. They went and got Hornet Queen. That's fine. Blood Moon would lock them out of that. So I crack a clue. I have 4 mana, or 3 mana. I can at least Trinisphere. I Bloodbraid, find. I think I just have to Bloodbraid and try to find land destruction or a Blood Moon. Oh, they didn't even look to see what I got? It would have been Stone Rain, and yeah, that would have set them back unless they top deck exactly Utopia Sprawl. Alright, so seeing what opponent had to offer. Do I want Anger of the Gods for Ewit and Scoos? Probably not. Scoos will grow out of range. This will still kill all of my little things. This is in here for Hogak. Carnage Tyrant can't be countered by Mana Tithe. I don't think that's good enough. Although it is hexproof. Opponent's also got Hornets. So it'd probably be Inferno Titan for Carnage Tyrant, but being able to clean up all the Death Touchy insects, I think that's still the better call. And Wrenn and 6 should be able to pick up any lands that they destroy, as well as picking off their small creatures. So I feel like we are a little advantaged here. Oh boy, single land. But oh, that's so greedy. That's so very greedy. If I top deck anything, I can. They're on Acid Moss. They're not on the red land destruction spells. So if I top deck any land or a Utopia Sprawl, I can still Stone Rain them. Okay, I think this is where we have to pull out odds. I currently have 7, 15, sorry, 7, 15, 16, 22 lands. So I have 21 of 53, and I have 2 draws to do it. Yeah, we're keeping this. The greed is real. The greed is super real. This Misty also needs to get me a Stomping Ground so I can double red pillage with the Arbor Elf, should it come to it. They're leaving up Mana Tithe. And we didn't draw land. I think I'd prefer to keep Arbor Elf around long term so you can Mana Tithe my Birds of Paradise. Yep, you got it. Oh, so close. Okay. Um, Arbor Elf? Your go? Nissa. Okay. I haven't seen Nissa in Modern in a while. The backside is actually pretty strong. She does great in Cube. But we're... if I Blood Moon, they'll just play their basic forest and have all their colors. I think I'm on Stone Rain. Because I have Stone Rain for multiple turns. They might get to the point they can hold up additional Mana Tides, but... Oh, that's pretty. I'd love a land. I'd absolutely love a land to get around a Mana Tithe. That kind of works. And we're going to put this on red. Untap you. And we're going to do Can't Be Regenerated. I can't imagine it comes up, but... Oh, and then I get an Inferno Titan? Yeah, I love this deck. If we get a land, we get an Inferno Titan. They do technically still have Mana Tithe up, though. That's a Wrenn and 6. So Wrenn and 6, pick up Misty. Then you get a free hit at Wrenn and 6. But then I Inferno Titan you. Okay, so last turn I misplayed. I actually should have hit the Snow-Covered Plains because I was going to Blood Moon out the Temple Garden. Now they have white, and they shouldn't have had white. The value! Groot, you've done right by me. And the nature of opponent's deck tells me that they do not have Path to Exile because I'd get them basics when they're trying to destroy lands. And yep, cleaned it up in the pseudo mirror match. All right, move up to 3-1. And again, I punted in match 1. We probably should have been a little higher than that. But Ponza's doing Ponza things. Ponza really does fluctuate with the meta depending on how well Blood Moon is doing and how well Chalice is doing. Chalice of the Void, we kind of countered it by adding Wrenn and 6 to the deck list because it is making a resurgence thanks to Hogok. And Blood Moon isn't necessarily in the tight spot. I know a lot of the Ponza subreddit has been playing with running... well, first and foremost, it's actually turning into Karnza, and you're just locking the opponent out because you do hit a significant chunk of mana pretty quickly, but they're just running Trinisphere because so many decks in Modern are supposed to be leaning quick and care about casting multiple spells a turn that Ponza ends up just... or Trinisphere, I mean, ends up just cleaning the house. This is amazing, by the way. I think that this is... I'll actually have to do the math here. So we forest and arbor elf. Then if we find a land, we can definitely Chandra. If not, we're at least on skews. Oh, fatal push is gonna hurt. Fatal push is gonna hurt a lot. But we Utopia Sprawl itself. We untap Utopia Sprawl. Rips. Land. Sweet. Getting my red source just so it's out of the way here. And then this looks like Jund. So I'm going to try to get Ren in 6 because this is going to be a value engine here. And at least hit my next land drop for the following turn. I'm kind of expecting a Liliana out of opponent. And Liliana is significantly less good when we can just continuously pick up our land. That's a Goyf. All right. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to cast Chandra, I believe. I can. So go get a forest, green, green. Nope, I'm still one shy. So that means I'm going to get another forest. We're going to Utopia Sprawl a forest. On green. Then we're going to Utopia Sprawl on red. Then we're going to go ahead and pick. What I was trying to get to was Scavenging Ooze, Eat the Yard, kill Goyf with Ren and 6. But I think what I'm going to have to do instead is just eat the Fatal Push. No, eat the Core. Or eat the Arbor Elf. Make this dude a 3/3, shrink the Goyf. And Skooz is probably going to take a hit for Ren and 6. Ren and 6 is just so strong in this matchup. Alternatively, they shouldn't be able to kill Ren and 6. Then Skooz eats the entire yard, drop Inferno Titan or Chandra, and just finish off the Goyf. I know, we have options. I'm always happy when we have options. Nope, that does a thing. I was also considering eating the Verdant Catacombs in case they have their own Ren and 6. It would also shrink the Goyf if they don't have another fetch land. Yep. Unfortunately, Inferno Titan gets killed pretty easily by Liliana the Vel. Wow. Alright. Now Chandra won't actually kill Goyf. That's a good play from opponent. Got my respect. That was a really good play. Taking the shock here is probably life I don't want to spend. I'll just get the mountain. Then just completely shoot opponent here. Hitting Goyf won't do anything. We'll see if they have a Liliana the Vel. If they don't, that means that the Inferno Titan attack with the Chandra should be able to kill it. Man, opponents even stumbled on lands, but we found no destruction. Alright, that's another Goyf. And that's a Stone Rain. Beautiful. Alright, Chandra comes down. This should leave 3 mana up if I top deck something I care about with Chandra. If not, I'll just Stone Rain them off of green and the double black. Or, no, same plan. No! Misclick. F, misclick. Alright, well, Inferno Titan will keep the Goyfs back. I could have done 4 damage, attacked, and did 2 damage to it, killed it. They wouldn't have been able to block, but they're off a color for now. It's probably okay. They didn't have the Liliana, which means they need to top deck a Black Source and a Liliana in order to kill the Inferno Titan, or a green and an Assassin's Trophy. Oh, that's brutal. That's so brutal. A lot of misclicks with this deck tonight. I apologize. This has not been great content. I keep clicking on the wrong things. This deck is definitely punishing the format. Next turn, so I actually need to turn off auto yields. I can have 4 red mana with the Inferno Titan. So I'll be hitting for 10. So if I do kill a Goyf, they actually have to consider chump blocking with the other one. I'm okay with that. Opponent's trying to figure out how to piece together surviving after my misclick. It's a little unfortunate. He shouldn't have had the choice. Interesting. So I'm getting the read here that they might have an instant. Okay, that's fine. Well, this buys us a turn with 2 looks. Yeah, really sad that I punted there, but any chump blocking creature keeps us in this. Bolt is turned off. Words are hard. Bolt is turned offline because of the Trinisphere, although not any longer. Not getting Lily mana. Tyler's Tracker's fine. So Seasoned Pyromancer is free draws. Let's go ahead and just cast that first. Glorybringer. Beautiful. All right. Add for red. Glorybringer. Attack and exert. We're going to shoot this dude down. And opponent needs to find removal for Seasoned Pyromancer. That's a fine place to be in. Yep, that's game. All right, Jund. Kitchen Finks is an all-star here. It requires removal twice. Opponent could potentially have Nihil Spellbomb as an artifact. Leyline because we showed them the Renin 6. We are bringing in Relic. Relic can cash out to shrink a Goyf as well as stop their Renin 6 if we just continuously activate it. Skooz is still great in this matchup. Blood Moon is the best. Glorybringer did a little bit of work there, but it's not nearly as good. Inferno Titan being a 6/6 is great. Bloodbraid is just the card advantage engine. Like, so many of our cards end up replacing themselves and being more than a 1-for-1 that this does feel fine. Pillage and Stone Rain might be the cuts here. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Glorybringer. Trinisphere, Jund actually does try to play all their threats on curve. If we can interrupt that, it makes them significantly less efficient, and their game plan isn't nearly as good. Seeing the Renin 6, the opponent shouldn't be on Bob, but you never know. Yeah, that's not worth the Abrade. I don't know. Maybe the Kitchen Finks are trying too hard. I like so many of these cards. We can probably trim the Birds of Paradise. A single Mana Dork is just such a bad top deck, and really turn 1 Blood Moon's not the best. I'll consider this bringing back in on the play just so that we can have a turn 2 more often. Sure, we'll just cut a Pillage. The double red's slightly hard, and we're not going to be targeting any artifacts with it. Looks like Moto's locking up. This is no ramp and 2 lands. This is pretty easy mulligan. So W Groovy, I am not a Ponza expert. I kind of just picked this deck up for fun. If you are wanting to buy into it, I'd really consider wanting to buy the Karns. Karn the Great Creator locking out, you definitely get the mana for it, and it's significantly more functional. Uh, Sorry, just real quick. Considering Relic versus Bloodbraid, I don't have the mana for Bloodbraid, so Bloodbraid can go back. This is at least a redraw if I miss a land. But so if you are considering wanting to buy into it, you need to be able to buy the Karn the Great Creators and the Mycosynth Lattice. Yeah, mulliganing versus discard decks is rough. This is performing pretty well tonight. I've been pretty impressed with it. And I'd also, if you're on the verge of buying something, consider that Hogak is likely going to get banned tomorrow, and the format's going to go through like an entire meta shift. So it's going to be a very different field than it is today. Uh, that being said, Ponza is a fun deck if you love destroying lands, and I'm pretty sure most people are. Like, by all means, go pick the deck up. You're going to have fun with it. You can at least play F&M. You might not be able to take it to whatever replaced the Grand Prix. Magic Fest. You probably can't take it to a Magic Fest and do overly well. Occasionally it does put up results, but the ones that are going to put up results are likely going to be the Karn's Oath lists. But again, everything's going to change tomorrow. Like, it'll take a couple of weeks for the format to settle down, and if you enjoy destroying lands, this is probably fine. Yep, Lily of the Vel. So, going to be living off the top deck, and opponent's going to have an active Lily. Not my favorite place to be. Opponent actually knows about the Tireless Tracker, but not the Arbor Elf. So they're going to make us sack this. We can follow up the Arbor Elf later. It's not going to be able to protect Tracker with its little itty-bitty body. It'd be nice if we had both out, but that was just an opportune time to draw it. Oh, wow. Going all out. Yeah, we might have just been junned. Opponent only has the active Liliana, though. We kind of have a shot here. Keeping the Relic until end step to crack it. Just because if we crack it and we can't cast, Liliana will eat it. Also, if we keep this on the table and opponent actually goes for the ultimate, they're probably going to have to give us 2 lands versus 1 land and a Relic. Okay, so they care about their card in hand. And they didn't cast it yet. So it's either removal. I'm kind of expecting Cake Command. Whatever. We're just going to pop. Shriek Future Goyfs. And unfortunately, Moto's not very nice with the whole Liliana Ultimate and enchantments. It's going to be hard to figure out what land that's on. But we'll see. Discards Redundant Lily, Windswept Heath. I'm fine drawing lands here. In fact, I'm going to leave this uncracked in case I find a tracker. But this means that I can play a Inferno Titan off the top and shoot Liliana. Oh boy. This is how things go downhill. I need to find a Bloodbraid Elf here really quickly. Or Inferno Titan. Inferno Titan actually wouldn't do anything. Lily would just make us sack it. Wow. Deck, you're a real sport. You've been really nice to us all night, but this is a little brutal. So we have 1 land in exile. That's a Scoos. That kind of forces some action from the opponent. And I'm eating these now. Just don't want to give the opponent the opportunity to do anything. If they end up finding a land and they want to do anything with Wrenn and 6, they'll have to make us edict the Scoos. So I actually play a lot of different decks. I've been doing a lot of decks for Squirrel Dealer. We're probably rounding about 7 months right now with just a wide variety. If you're looking for a budget deck, I'm a huge fan of Martyr Proc. The one that I actually play in paper is, Pillage doesn't really do anything here, but Lily will make a sack it. Maze will do a shock land and a green one in case they find a Scoos. The main one that I play, I have Blue White Control completely like expeditioned out SDCC promos of all the planeswalkers, and then I also have the Goryo's As Foretold. I love that deck. It just has really fun, intriguing lines, and drawing 7 with Grizzlebrand while not having it be the win condition is just all kinds of delicious. But Martyr Proc is probably the one I recommend to most people most often. You can build the deck for around $20 and just have an amazing time with it and actually play fun games of Magic. I think we're dead here. They're going to get retraced, but they don't have anything to retrace. They've been picking up a cycling land. Like, we've drawn land destruction, but when you have an active Wrenn and 6, it really doesn't do anything. I'm willing to give this one more top deck just because something like a... I think we might have cut it, but Glorybringer could kill the Scoos and stop Lily from ulting. Yeah, we trim Glorybringer. Ooh, that's actually a card. So we're going to kill the bigger Scoos, let Chandra eat it, and then we need to top deck one more bomb. No, they can alt both of these, though. Whatever. We're in garbage time. You got it, opponent. I am curious. What, Yeah, that's bad. That's so bad. I kind of want the Glorybringer. I saw its value at the end of that last game. Carnage Tyrant doesn't do anything. It just gets edicted. I do want the Birds of Paradise on the play, just because we can steal games that way. Yeah, Wrenn and 6, probably just land destruction spells. I'm good to run it back like this. Of note, Grafdigger's Cage does nothing to Goyf or Wrenn and 6. It does stop you from doing Bloodbraid Elf, though. So if you're bringing in the Grafdigger's Cage, you have to take your Bloodbraid out. Otherwise, you can't Cascade. And that means that you also have to take out your Trinispheres. Oh boy. I'm going to keep this hand because we're on the play and I get to run out the Birds of Paradise. But it's not because we do anything overly powerful with this hand. We do have a couple of top decks that we can draw into, but with the amount of discard that the opponent's running and the value of Tireless Tracker, it's perfectly acceptable to keep a hand that's just not going to get stripped apart after you mulligan down to a low card count. Yep. So they get to take a Tireless Tracker here, then I get to run out my other tracker. Opponent doesn't know about the forest, so I'm going to take the shock. This is slightly loose, but I like not revealing information. Now opponent has to find a way to kill the Tireless Tracker and the Bloodbraid, or get the Bloodbraid out of our hand. Scavenging Ooze. All right. I'm not going to trade my Tireless Tracker for the Scavenging Ooze. Actually, I might. Yeah, opponent, if you want my Tireless Tracker for your Scavenging Ooze, I'm kind of okay with that because I'm about to Bloodbraid and just start the clock. We are currently the beatdown, so we just need to keep pressure up. Plus, this Tireless Tracker ended up drawing me 2 clues. Yep, that's fine. I have things to do. And this was also loose. I was supposed to crack Relic when there was only Inquisition in the yard, so opponent didn't have a choice in what to exile. Right now, they're probably going to take the Scoos just because Goyf will be bigger with the Inquisition also in the yard. If opponent's only dropping a Goyf here, like, it's fine. We'll just untap and Relic again, but it is better form to actually do that when it's relevant. What was going through my mind, though, is if I had Relic and like they tried to Scavenging Ooze or Surgical or anything, I could target myself with this and actually exile the card to fizzle it. But Given the fact that they're a Goyf deck, I probably should have just been proactive and taken away their choice. Looks like opponent missed their land drop, though. Maybe taking out the land destruction was also a little loose. I don't know. This felt like it turned into value. Opponent's just a similar deck to ours, but they have black, and we have a little bit of land destruction and blood moons. Like, we're both running red and sex. We're both running value creatures. I think most versions of Jund actually have Tireless Tracker in the board for control matchups. Oh, they're tanking really hard on their 2-drop. So they can like Wrenn and 6 and kill my birds, but then Wrenn and 6 dies. They can just drop a Goyf, but it's not going to be very good because of my relic. Now they have their 3rd mana. Okay. So this might be a Liliana. Liliana Plus would survive a Bloodbraid attack. Plague Engineer on bird also doesn't seem too crazy. K command, kill the bird, and I discard. Alright, well, you know I have an Inferno Titan. Ta-da! Oh, I didn't activate Relic. Oh well. Blood Moon basically locks opponent completely out of this game. Yep. And that's where the money's at. Alright, well, let's go ahead and open our 5 chests because we earned them. So far, our league, we ended up doing... We lost to Pox, and I do 100% believe that was my mistake. I punted game 1, they took game 2, then we probably should have taken game 3 on the play. I actually really like this card in Commander. Really like it. So we probably could have taken Pox and 5-0'd, but what can you do? Fathom Feeder, this was actually one of my favorite standard cards. I think I even ran it in one of my weird brews just because the Death Touch as a 2-2 is actually kind of relevant. The Ingest doesn't really do too much, but 5 mana to draw a card is a good way to close out games when they're stalled. It's a little bit stronger in matchups closer to Legacy where you end up going to a lot of top decks. I love Platinum Angel. Rakdos Return is also a really fun, strong card. We ended up beating Eldrazi twice, Jund once, and for the life of me, I can't remember the 3rd deck. Ooh. Ooh, that's a fun card. I haven't seen that before. That's Mirrodin? It's too slow. I could try to brew with that, though. All right, so Ponza, we did pretty well. Again, 4-1. Probably could have taken the 5-0. I think Eldrazi was just a little bit favored because Blood Moon's so strong in that matchup. Honestly, we played a lot of matchups where Blood Moon is strong, and that's going to be what a lot of the strength of this deck is. That's fun. I just got a message from my last opponent saying, "You are certainly the exact type of player I'd be expecting to cast Blood Moon." Or Stone Rain. Well, yeah, we did well because Blood Moon did well. And I think Wrenn and 6 is a huge gain to this deck. It's expensive, but it felt like we lost a lot of games before Wrenn and 6 because we ran out of mana and we couldn't cast things like Inferno Titan. Glorybringer did do some work. I kept wanting to board it out, but being removal as well as a flying evasive threat was really good. I don't know. Ponza's nothing new. It's a land destruction deck. I honestly would feel really bad playing this in paper just because it is land destruction. Like, your fun games are the games that your opponents aren't having fun. And that definitely does bring a certain type of player into play, but hey, if you're enjoying it and it's your free time, it's your free time. Like, do what makes you happy. Overall, Ponza, though, doesn't really put up a lot of results. It is casual, as I've been saying kind of throughout the stream if you're just skipping to the end. Future things I'd like to do with this, I'd like a Collector Oath in the side. Like, that just... It felt like I needed it, and it's probably just because I played Eldrazi twice, but it's a creature, it's a threat, it negates what your opponent's doing. That's what this entire deck is doing, just trying to make it so that your opponent doesn't do anything. Well, I think that's all I can really say. Like, this deck has been around, it is on the fringe of the format, and there's all that stuff. But guys, I am thirteene. I do a bunch of decks for the site Squirrel Dealer. We have about 7 months worth of content, just a bunch of different things. I play 3 nights a week. Brad one plays twice. He plays a little bit more competitive decks where I play things at the fringe and homebrews. If you have a cool deck or a cool idea, feel free to send it to decks at Squirrel Dealer. We'll try to brew with it. If it's something really cool, we'll get it on stream. Happy to help you make some budget considerations or other ways to make them work. If you'd like to check out any of our history of our decks, they're all up on YouTube. Just search for Squirrel Dealer. Check out our deck list. Like, there's so many cool fun ones up there. And if you do like our content, the Squirrel Dealer staff account is always hosting our stuff at Twitch, so you can always see when we go live. If you'd like to reach out to us, send us very specific messages, feel free. We don't check Twitter all that often, but that'll hit all of us, or I am thirteene on Reddit. And thanks for sticking around. We had a lot of fun with Ponza tonight. Tomorrow night, I think I'm going to be playing Esper Gorios, which hasn't really been around, but hopefully Hogak gets banned. People like reduce their sideboard hate. Who knows, but still going to have some fun with it. And have a good one, everybody.